All right, people. We're going to talk about the comic book genre, the comic book movie genre, DCU, MCU. But we're not going to talk about it in the sense of what's going on there. We're going to talk about it in the sense of where they stand. Okay, so here we are. We're moving right along. 2008 to now, we've had a glut of movies. We've had much success, and we had over anticipated and just a great host of people involved and a love for the comic book genre. What we have now is, I believe, a loss of interest. People are trying to say, or we're not trying to say, people are showing different angles and different ways that the industry has somewhat, or the interest has somewhat slowed down for the comic book genre, movie-wise. And we've heard as far as fatigue, loss of interest, damage as far as Marvel branding, DCEU branding, and we're at the point now where we're trying to figure out why these movies are struggling to make $500,000, whereas before we were expecting them to do $1 billion, okay, or more. And I said $500,000. I meant $500 million, so 500 million. Okay, so these movies, Superman and Fantastic Four, are both struggling to get there. I believe Superman has passed that, but I don't know how much more life it has to push along. And it looks like Fantastic Four is going to struggle to get to 500 million. I personally think Fantastic Four was a great movie. I gave it a 8.75 overall. Truly enjoyed that movie. But I have to say that I believe that the problem is fatigue. I think the interest in Marvel movies and superhero movies is starting, or has waned over the last 5 years. I think if you were going to recapture that, it would have been within that time frame. I think we have reached a level now. The people that have walked away, you're not bringing them back. So what you have left is the hardcore audience, such as myself, and 500, 600 million ticket buyers worth of fans. I go as far as to say that even people that are hardcore comic book fans, some of them have even walked away. But I think as they walk away, and I think some of their arguments, if you look back on a lot of people's arguments just say 2 years ago, they don't really have those arguments now. I think a lot of things were being done in the industry and the social media industry that people were kind of lock and loading, swaying with the wind and catching on to the ankles of whatever was popular and whoever was saying what. I think now when they think back on that, they realize how bad of a mistake that was. Not saying that would have changed the outcome of where we are now. Now, don't get me wrong. I don't feel as though the industry is a total wash. No way. Like I said, Instead of us expecting these billion-dollar movies, I think we need to be more realistic and look at the 500 million to 7, and that'll be more realistic. And I think that they could probably continue to support that amount of money with the movies and shows that they bring forward. I believe that. But in this industry, movie industry, entertainment industry, it's all about greed and glut. So to settle for something that you were once doing with a blink of an eye, that's just not the way these guys roll. So it remains to be seen what this industry is going to do. I, for one, will continue to support and always have an interest in the comic industry as far as movies are concerned, and just the medium itself. Absolutely. I will continue to listen to the podcast and the videos of those that are in the world and in the circle, and continue to be a part of that circle myself. But that's my take. My take is that I believe that the genre fatigue is the ultimate source of drainage from the comic book movie genre. The ultimate. There are other variables that definitely play parts in there, but someone made a very interesting point earlier that Marvel over the past 5 years or so flipped over backwards to bring women into the fold, to make sure that women were attracted to come, because comic books have always been a man thing. Yeah, you have ladies and females that were into the comic genre, but listen, that percentage is not even comparable. Wasn't, and I don't believe it is now. I believe there are a whole lot of women that are into the comics and the comic genre, but in comparison to the comics has always been a male-dominated medium. And I believe Marvel flipping over backwards to bring in the female audience, don't want to say they hurt themselves, but I don't believe they helped themselves. They could have went a little bit lighter on that, and I think things would have turned out fine. But I enjoyed everything they brought. Yes, absolutely. She-Hulk, Attorney at Law, the Marvels, anything associated with Wanda, Agatha all along, anything, the Wasp, all these characters, I believe they really elevated them to a higher level in order to, bring that female interest in. Echo, all of that. But I think over time it did not do them well. I think there was more concern whether Sue Storm was going to lead the daggone Fantastic Four versus is the movie just going to be good regardless of who's leading. I don't care if Ben Grimm was leading the daggone Fantastic Four. Johnny Storm, whatever. Just make a good movie, and that's all we need. Stay as true as you can to the original material, and everything will be fine. But hey, I'm not going to go on, but hey, this is Ronald from Ronald's Coffee and Comics. I just wanted to chime in on, what we feel has brought us to the place that we're at. And until next time, God bless.